There's the art. There's the
Alright, some number 18, bless it, man.
Oh, we're going. We're already going. This is us being us.
We're just gonna talk. This is just starting. We're just talking about the fact that you, Mr. Alex behind the camera is just holding the camera up the whole time, and it's like I could not do that.
The genius behind Tales of Alex. Watch his channel, by the way. 1.4K subscribers and growing, right?
Yeah, it's a very good channel.
He's one of the
Quality
best
content.
cinematographers in the Fab universe.
So, how are you saying? How is this event going for you?
This event is going great. I've only been here for about 4 hours today, and it's just been nonstop meeting cool people after meeting cool people. I got pulled into a couple deals, and then I got, I bumped into you, right? And you just got introduced to the Fab Unsealed people.
I got to break a whole box of Dynasty on live stream. It was great. It was a great experience.
Yeah,
I hadn't even seen it because I was traveling when they opened the case, so I was great opening that box.
Absolutely, and a big thanks to LSS for fronting that box. No questions asked. It's like, oh, you guys are doing a vertical break? Let's give you the newest set. Let's just force you to open, or allow you the privilege of early opening 24 packs of Dynasty before the release.
I want to say huge thanks to LSS for running, doing this. Thanks to James White for making this goddamn game and bringing everybody together. I traveled for the first time, flew on a plane for the first time in my life to get here, and this has been an experience I'll never forget, and it's only Friday.
Yeah.
It was last night and today, and I'm running on fumes, but I don't even care.
And you came in last night, and the first thing you were treated to was a food hall, right? Drinks, adult beverages, pizza, a lot of different types of pizza, salads, other hors d'oeuvres, I think there were.
I got in too late for the pizza, so Fluke and I went and got burritos, but he paid, so hey, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
No, it's been an experience. This is it's just wild. Been meeting everybody, Alex himself, Mr. FaBled Academy now. I think
Tales of Alex,
yeah.
Yep.
Bronson meeting.
We just bumped into Bronson. Yep.
Fluke, Tall Timmy, team. I'm not going to yell it like he does because I need to reserve my voice, but
Steven from DM Armada, Kellen,
Red Zone Rogue,
yes,
as Go Again Gaming, just everybody. It's
everybody,
phenomenal.
And we all get along, and we all watch each other's content. We all like each other.
Yep.
It's insane that the community is such a tight circle. It's great, like a real community, not some other publishers talk about community, but they're just at the door charging $270 a ticket and giving you crap for it. I was at that event last week. Have you heard about it? Did you hear about it?
I heard if you were one of the special chosen ones who were kind of invited to it, you had a good time. Normal people, not as much. I heard where there was a lot of disgruntled. It was basically like if you were just a normal person walking in, it was not a good event for you. It was not made for you. But if you were invited, But can I damper about on this event just a little bit?
Please do.
I was in the Daily Double Classic Constructed event. I was 3-0 with Dromai. Of course, I even said my last game was going to be against Fi. Sure enough, it was. I must have manifested that. I got Art of Ward 3 turns in a row. Fi is bullshit. That's all I want to say. The guy I was playing was fantastic, but I can't deny that. I wasn't salty against the player, but I was a little salty against Art of War 3 turns in a row. The game was literally just me dying. There was no game. It was just me taking damage, and then just ended. But
that feels like
3-0. I went 3-1. That's not too bad.
That feels like some of my Prism games and some of my Oldham games when playing Dorinthia, which caused me to stop playing Dorinthia for a while. So
I'm not going to stop playing Dromai. I didn't buy all those Marvel Dragons for nothing.
Fair enough. I just paused temporarily. I'm waiting for a little more Dory support, but I'm just saying.
You mean what just came in Dynasty?
Yes, what is coming in Dynasty is on the way out. That plus Glistening Steelblade, I think, will make her a lot more viable. But no, I'm just saying I understand. Getting 40 O'd are just doing a lot of dying.
Yeah, it was 32-0, so it was close enough.
Yep.
But I only damaged him because he let me.
Oh, really?
That was, those games where the other players,
it's
those games where it's like, hey, at least I dealt you damage. But I just let you.
I never had a chance.
Yeah, I was able to just take it because you didn't have enough to send at me. So yeah, you dealt me 9 in the game, but I literally didn't care.
Absolutely.
But-
No, I've been through enough of those games.
It was a casual event. I'm not really that worried. Art of War sometimes feels pretty bad. Apparently they're getting hits.
They're getting hits back there.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll be back there for the Crucible, Arcane,
First edition
and
stuff.
Alpha.
That'll be very
Absolutely.
interesting. Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna try to convince Sires to let you handle at least
An
one
Alpha
arc
pack.
or WTR
Yeah,
pack.
I don't know. I mean, they seem to enjoy me with the commentary I was doing. So.
Yeah, we all
I don't know.
enjoy
I don't know
you.
about the audience. I don't know if the audience enjoyed it because I wasn't watching the live stream. I was opening up packs. But
but
hopefully I didn't bore them to death.
I just have to say, I'll say this on my channel, that you're the content creator of content creators. You're the future of content in Flesh and Blood. You're my favorite person to watch, and I'm glad you could finally just be on the channel in the Flesh and Blood, just sitting next to me, able to talk about this game, talk about your experience, man.
I really appreciate that. I'm just going to be honest. I'm starting to realize that there's quite a lot of people that feel that way about my content. I don't want to come across as egotistical, but I'm at least proud of myself because, coming from literally just shooting on my phone, crappy camera, crappy audio, and not editing into like where I've gotten now. I've put in a lot of work to develop the skills that I have. So I don't know if I'd call myself the Flesh and Blood creator, but I've been said that it's been told to me quite a few times.
I'm saying that. You don't need to say that. I'm saying that. I'm saying that you put in more thought and more work into your content than I would say almost anybody else, because I do not know anybody putting in 10 plus hours per episode and then condensing the episode to 5 to 12 minutes usually, right?
Usually
Rarely
like
over
5
10,
to 8.
right?
There's a couple of them that are over 10, and the one that my longest is 13, and it was 13 minutes because it was the Channel Fireball thing, and I had a song at the end.
Yep.
I wrote a song about it, which maybe I think I might maybe I should plug it into some loudspeaker since we're at a Channel Fireball event.
Yes,
just, blare that over the speakers.
we are at the last Channel Fireball event of the year, and I won't speak towards my assumptions that there will not be any more events, but we'll see. Who knows?
I know. I'll be honest. I heard spoke with let's just say a prominent Magic YouTuber, and he was actually kind of saying he wasn't too pleased with Channel Fireball and how they've handled this event. And it's not awful, but coming in and finding out that the Welcome to Wraith playmats that were supposed to be available for purchase here at the event were sold online and are now sold out. That was
Yeah,
nice.
the actual people that flew to try
that
to
showed
get
up.
this
Yeah, and then
playmat.
they just Channel Fireball was like, nah, you know what? We're gonna do our own. It feels like they do that a lot. They're told to not do stuff or to do certain things, and then they just go, we're just gonna do what we want. And to be honest with you though, I feel like that's just digging their own graves, because I think everybody here would probably agree. Flesh and Blood, like you can look around and you can see the quality and how many people have gathered. This is Magic the Gathering in its infancy. This game is in its infancy, and it is going to be massive in probably 2, 3, 4 years. And if Channel Fireball wants to mess around with LSS and not treat them as they deserve because they see it as just some dumb little game, when when Flesh and Blood is big and it's huge and it's got millions of players, hopefully they don't work with Channel Fireball and they say, no, now that we're the big dogs, screw you. You guys messed with us and fire sold our boxes, messed with our events, didn't do things properly. I don't know how bad it is. I'm not behind the scenes. But
I've personally made a reconciliation with Channel Fireball, and I've told the management I will not publicly, proactively say anything overtly negative about them. But I do not disagree with everything that you are saying.
And the thing is, like I said, I'm not in the background, so there's a few things they've done wrong with this event. Like, again, selling the playmats, I think that was a dick move. But maybe they're probably not being completely awful with it, and mistakes happen. But if they are behind the scenes, if they really are still going to be screwing with the game, because they were for a while. I'm sorry, fire selling those boxes the way they were. They knew they were causing damage. Hoarding the Monarch boxes, that was obscenely offensive and just insulting to the game and to James.
Mm-hmm.
If they're gonna keep doing that, then they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot, because it's like you're sure Flesh and Blood isn't the biggest game in the world right now. It's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely massive. It's already wildly successful.
On that note,
how early it is.
I will say that I was at the Pro Tour qualifying events in '95 for, I think, the first Magic Pro Tour, and that was year one of organized play, or widespread worldwide organized play for Magic, as far as I can remember, because that was a long time ago. But I will say that Worlds, Pro Tour 1 and Pro Tour Allele, Pro Tour 1, Pro Tour 2, and now Worlds, all of these 3 events have been bigger, to my knowledge, than any of the events in Magic the Gathering Year 1. So we are at the inception. We are at the beginning of something really, really special. We are at the beginning of a great movement, and the moves that Wizards of the Coast are making, like Magic 30, like Magic 30th anniversary, they are literally just welcoming, they're pushing out all of the Magic loyalists that have been loyal to Magic for up to 30 years, and they're pushing them into Flesh and Blood's direction. Because this is the only platform that has had organized play these 3 years and has promoted and has encouraged the players to just keep growing, just keep attending events. I mean, I think Wizards of the Coast closed down organized play in either 2020 or 2021 and literally terminated all of their pros in the Pro Tour circuit. Meanwhile, out of, when one brand goes down, another publisher rises up and infuses $1 million in the cash prize pool in 2022, Flesh and Blood did, and this World Championship has a $300,000 cash prize purse. Just this event alone. Yeah. Not to mention all the prize cards, all the swag being given out, all the gold foils, these playmats, these promo cards, that as long as this game is in existence 5, 10, 20 years from now, all of these items from the first Pro Tour will be immensely, immensely valuable. I mean, that's not the only reason why we're here. We're here for each other. We're here for the community. But you better believe that Sink Below playmat will probably never get reproduced. The world's one playmat, Map of Wraith, a member close to members of Legend Story Studios, literally, while I was opening boxes and doing the unsealed stuff, just handed me that playmat. He's like, Saint, I want you to have this. This is yours. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I owe you for this? It's like, no, I want you to have it. You will appreciate it more than I will. And I'm like, damn, Skippy, I will. And I mean, it's such an honor just to be a member of the community, be recognized to that level. Just having people like walk up to you like, I want you to have this. I want you to sign this for me, right? And I'm guessing you're experiencing similar right now?
I haven't been asked to sign anything, but I have had, honestly, at this point, probably like 30 people come up to me, and it's just the Friday, like, and introduce themselves, say that they love my content, they want me to keep going, and they've just been in nothing but nice things. I have met just so many people. It's been phenomenal. It's just been, like, it's surreal still. Like, I feel almost like a celebrity with how some people are treating me. Like, being able to open up the box of Dynasty, like, on live stream, and it's like, I've never met you people up until this point, and, and then all of a sudden, here I am sitting on a live stream opening up a box. It feels, I'm not gonna lie, it feels really cool.
And then right before that, you were hanging out with some co-founders of Legend Story Studios that made the game. Yeah, they literally made the game.
You know what? I met James White last night, and the guy gave me a hug. It was like the first thing. It's just he went in for a hug, and then we talked for a few minutes. Obviously, he's a busy man, got pulled away, but it's just there's something else about this game. And I actually want to say too, like, one of the reasons that Flesh and Blood is doing so well, and it really is kicking Magic's ass, because it's kicking Magic's ass in every way. Because yes, I know people are like, well, Magic is still the most popular game. It's like, sure, but the quality is shit. Everybody who plays it is angry and upset. Like, congratulations, Wizards is the biggest game, but they rule over a kingdom of shit because nobody likes it. Nobody's
the corporate
enjoying
suits
what they're
are exploitative. They don't care anything about the player base. They make bullshit up about the community. They're virtue signaling left and right.
Yep.
All they care about is that number at the end of the quarter, whatever their profitability is, and it's hurting now.
And it's hurting them long term.
It's really bad.
Even worse long term. But the thing about Flesh and Blood too, though, is that it's not just a game that came out and is like piggybacking off of what Magic is letting out. I know some people will make that argument, like it's only successful because Magic's not doing it.
It's a clone of Magic.
But the thing is, how rude of them to interrupt us. How rude of them to interrupt us with the main event. The thing is, though, James didn't do what the creator of MetaZoo did and just make something, and all these other games on Kickstarter too, is it feels like all these new TCGs coming out are people just throwing their ideas at the wall and hoping it works.
Yep.
And not really, like, James knew with what he wanted to do, he had to make the highest quality game he possibly could. He had to put in that serious attention to detail. He's not somebody who puts it like when you're creating something, and I can say this in videos, most of the time that you're spending is on like 20% of that quality production. Is of that all those little things, all those little details, but they add up to make something
fine-tuning the last little bit.
Truly beautiful and amazing. And it's not saying Flesh and Blood is perfect. It's not without errors. It's not without issues. I mean, in the new legendary, the Soraya, they refer to her own name wrong on the regular version.
Yeah,
Marvel
on one side versus the Marvel,
and it's
right?
it's very clear that it was probably a last-minute decision. The name got changed, and it was an oversight. It's still a mistake, and it's still, I'll say, it's a pretty big oversight because it's a legendary card.
Yep.
And so it's not like it's perfect, but
it's not Dawnblade.
But I mean, have you seen the Marvel?
Dawnblade.
Yeah, but have you seen the Marvel on it? The Marvel version of that? That card,
it's beautiful.
Like the Flesh and Blood cards are works of art. They are like, especially the Marvels and all the extra, like the borders are artistic. Like I was reading early articles from when they were developing the game and how they literally, like for Ninja, they wanted it to look like a Kodachi handle. They wanted that to be the border, and they designed like a bunch of different borders, a bunch of different styles. They put them together, and it just every little aspect of the game that they have thought through and that they have put that effort into, it shows, it shines. Like when you play it, there's just a feel to it, and that's, I think, more important. It's hard to explain the feeling of Flesh and Blood when you're playing it and when you're opening up packs. And the best way I've heard it described for a lot of people is that it gives them the same feeling and nostalgia that Magic used to have in its early days. Like that
I agree.
Feeling.
When it was innovative, when it was new, and it was fresh.
Even at like the Return to Ravnica era of Magic, like in 2011, 12, even around there, it still felt like the game, the people making it and the company cared about the game. Like that was their focus. Obviously, the past several years, Magic has gone the complete opposite direction, but that's how Flesh and Blood feels. Like when you play it, you can feel the heart and soul in the game, and there's no real tangible way, no quantitative way to really explain that. But anybody who's played it, anybody who's opened up the packs, and just like you look at a card and you go, "There's something here. Like there's just something else to this game."
You know, a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, the art is repetitive and this and that." I mean, the new printed stuff in MTG is repetitive. They're just afraid to bear scantily clad women, and they're afraid to do anything provocative, do anything just out of the ordinary. It doesn't even have to be, TNA. Even Timekeeper's Win, I think, and
just that, and that one new, I can't remember what it's called, the new
card out of Dynasty,
the really
surreal art. Exactly. They've got new elements. They're willing to be edgy. They're willing to be experimental with their artwork, just like Magic used to be in the early 90s. Cards like Stasis, for example, that was totally abstract, had different shapes in it. Flesh and Blood is doing that. They're engaging their player base, they're engaging the collector base, and they're engaging people with different tastes. Right?
And can I say about the women in this game? Like, Magic is just like, oh, we don't want to sexualize women, so we're going to take away all, like, attractiveness for the most part. Like,
we're going to neuter the whole game.
Flesh and Blood. See, the thing is, I personally, I know you're a fan of, I think, with Cross or whatever it is?
Weiss Schwarz,
yes. Yeah. So for me personally, I'm not a fan of the big anime titty games. Like, I'm just not, it's just not my thing.
That's fair.
If you like it, you like it, that's fine. I don't personally care for it. Flesh and Blood, though, they understand is that, like, women are beautiful, right? And everybody likes a beautiful woman. Like, when they made Assassin Mommy, and that's what we're going to call her, is she the white-haired assassin card, what is it? Leave No Witnesses, I believe is what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
It's, like, the art on that card, everybody blew up on Twitter, I remember, and was like, just immediately simming over men and women alike, because Flesh and Blood attracts women.
And she's like, an ass kicker too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing is it's not just like this, she's not just like leaning over with these big tits flopping out, right? Like it's got class to the art. Yeah. And they know how to depict, like they find artists who know, like Prism is a gorgeous woman that's being depicted, but she's so powerful, and just there's nothing, like you don't look at Prism and go like, oh, they're just objectifying this woman. It's like, no, it's this beautiful,
she's
feminine,
classy, she's well studied, right? She's
and
reserved.
It's like I personally, like I like both ends of the spectrum. I like seeing beautiful, powerful depictions of women, and I like seeing the same of like beautiful or like strong masculine depictions of men. Like Bravo is my favorite male hero, just like in terms of like, not in play style, but in terms of the art. He's the first one that I played because of his art, because I just looked at him and I'm like, I'm never gonna look like Bravo. I would have to take steroids to actually be that jacked. Not gonna do that. But that is like, I love games that aren't afraid to go like, this is the ideal. This is like like when you look at superheroes, they're supposed to be better than a normal human being. They're supposed to be more attractive and more moral and just be,
because they're superhuman.
Exactly,
right?
And that's what Flesh and Blood. You're playing heroes. Like you're
and
playing
this is
heroes
a fantasy game, right? This is supposed to engage the fantasy seeking part of your brain.
I'm fine with people saying, hey, when I sit down at a low, at an event like this, I don't really want to sit across from a guy who's like, that fat, sweaty neck beard, because there are some, let's just be honest with you, the guys who don't shower, we all know them, we've all smelled them.
That was about 80% of Magic 30.
Yes, and I've yet to come across a single person like that here yet. But to be honest, Flesh and Blood's a bit cleaner. I think Flesh and Blood's a bit cleaner.
Slightly.
It's kind of like how we also take there's more of a percentage of women, but I think because the women heroes really attract them. Like they really like
they like female empowerment. Yep.
Exactly.
Like true female empowerment,
but
not just a company like saying that in their message and their beliefs and canceling 7 cards.
Because nobody likes sitting down across from the guy who's kind of awkward, maybe he's unclean, and he's got that the playmat, like it's like the sexy dark magician girl with her tits hanging out. It's like the very overt.
Yu-Gi-Oh? That's a Yu-Gi-Oh thing, right?
Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Or Magic, or just like sometimes they're just not even related. Or like Liliana. They'll have like a Liliana playmat of like her making out with Chandra or whatever. It's like, you know what? I understand why like people don't typically like that. I don't. That makes me uncomfortable. It's like, listen, I'm just gonna be real. I think that's cringe as shit. Like I just think it's like if you want to enjoy that in like the comfort of your home with your friends, that's fine. But like at an event, nobody really wants to see that kind of stuff. Like nobody's coming here to see like like anime tits hanging out of whatever. Unless you're at an event for a game that is like that.
That's fair. I left all my white Schwartz slabs at home. I didn't bring any of them here, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly. I just and I think Flesh and Blood, like I think the team making this game understands that, because like I've yet to hear anybody even once complain about the art on a card, except for maybe like Demolition Crew and Slogism, but like from the early days you're gonna have it's not even like the worst art, but
less celebrated art. Yeah.
I mean, I actually like Demolition Crew. It's just a funky card. It's like it doesn't look that good, but that's what I like about it. It's
it is funky looking.
Interesting looking card.
But Slogism and I think
Slogism just doesn't. They just don't look like anything.
The swirly art,
and it is kind of like, how do you represent? Now I think they've realized when they're doing stuff like that, they should just have some random character or whatever doing like something that's kind of tied to it. I think if they reprinted Nimblism, you'd see some like ninja or like woman or man like doing something and like expressing that Nimblism. Like you'd see
some
them
actual action.
You might see like them jumping on a roof, and you would see like the trails of like almost like a shadow of them like jumping between, and you can kind of see like the movement lines, and it would like depict like they're very quickly running or something
similar
like that.
To Torrent of Tempo, right?
Yeah,
like Torrent of Tempo could have been Nimblism.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, but oh man, I can't help but gush over this game so much. Like anytime I'm talking to somebody, I keep trying to get people into it, because like there's just something special about this game, and it's phenomenal to be here. It's phenomenal to meet everybody, and I love it so much.
I was reading and actually watching a couple of videos from motivational speaker Tony Robbins.
Okay, yeah.
And he had this whole seminar that was about noticing patterns and manifesting patterns. And I have to say, I saw something in Magic in 1994, and I felt the same way when I entered Flesh and Blood in late 2020, and I saw those patterns. And I have to say that a lot of the people that dislike Flesh and Blood, they're not seeing the same patterns I'm seeing. I saw Wizards of the Coast disengage from their community, disengage from their consumer base, and I said, you know what, I've seen enough patterns. That is the end of this company actually caring about their player base. This is now full on exploitation and nothing else. Just like you said, Return to Ravnica. I was in there for Guilds of Ravnica, Ravnica Allegiance, War of the Spark, Throne of Eldraine, and I said, nah, this is done. This is kaput. This is donezo. I'm done supporting this game because I saw the patterns, and the pattern of this company is that they care about their player base, and the people that are angry and dislike Flesh and Blood right now are the ones unwilling to accept that there are patterns of behavior, unwilling to accept that a company like Wizards of the Coast is done supporting them, unwilling to accept that whatever their collections are, and I think most of the angry people don't have reserve list cards, they have modern collections, they have in-print collections. Whatever they're holding right now, those cards will ultimately be worthless because they will just keep reprinting, and exploiting the expectations of these people. These collectors, so to speak, new age collectors in Magic the Gathering that have collected anything in the past 20 years, they will be disappointed because those Lilianas will get printed a 5th, a 6th, no, not even a 5th or 6th. It's already 5 or 6 printings, probably a 17th, an 18th, a 20th, a 25th time. Those people collecting Force of Wills. Force of Will is never going to be worth what it was worth. It'll never go back to $150 again. It will only be fluctuating at $80 to $100, and that's it. And that's what Magic is doing. That's what Wizards of the Coast is systematically doing. And I spotted those patterns. I was like, 2 years of support, enough is enough. Flesh and Blood is the future. This is a company, and again, seeing patterns, this is a company just like Richard Garfield was, and you know, the people surrounding Richard Garfield, Peter Atkinson in Magic the Gathering. James White is that second coming. Him and the Legend Story Studios team are a group of people, a group of gamers that care about other gamers. There is no other company out there, no other publisher out there that believes in the same thing right now. And that's why I'm on board, at least, because I spotted the pattern, and I hope other people will see the patterns too, because it's year one of organized play. We are at the end of year one, and this game, if it maintains itself, can easily beat the longevity of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, so I have two things to say to all that. The first off, you said you're no longer supporting new Magic. So what you're telling me is that you don't want to buy real fake Magic cards. You don't want to buy real fake proxies for $1,000 for 60 randoms. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, absolutely.
I can't believe
I
you.
even made a video about it, man.
I can't believe you. That is absurd.
Fake cards for $250 a pack?
A fake Black Lotus, like the one that we ripped up. You're telling me you wouldn't spend $1,000 on this?
Probably not.
Can I sell this to you for $500? It's in 2 pieces.
No, you can't even sell it to me for 15 cents. We're out there giving them away.
Can I pay you $500 to take it off my hands?
You can pay me to take it.
That's basically blowing the rest of my budget.
That's the limit. That's the limit.
But what I'll say when you were talking about Magic, like reprinting cards, see, I actually think it's a good thing to make sure that playable cards are still affordable for players. But what Magic does is every time they reprint a card now, especially a big one, they just keep making new, really cool, fancy versions. It's like what Flesh and Blood does is right. They're like, okay, these cool, fancy versions, like the Marvels, cold foils, or the gold foils, or like the really special variants, they do it once, never again. So if you're a collector, you have that copy. That one copy that will be way more coveted, and you can have that. It will retain its value, even if the normal copies keep getting reprinted. Because take a card like Fandol's Spring Tunic.
Yep.
If you have even the extended art, that's already a few $1,000s. Like I think it's like $3,000, right?
It's hard to find.
Okay,
yeah.
You have that copy. It doesn't matter how many times they reprint Fandol's Spring Tunic. That card is still going to be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 as time goes on.
That will always be the 2020 Road to National special promo.
Exactly.
That got released, a few hundred of them, and that's it.
And like the Marvels, like all these dragons, I have my full Marvel deck. My Draw My deck is fully Marveled out, right?
Yeah.
They will never make those dragons, as they will reprint them. Tomotai will get printed again, but it maybe even a rainbow foil, but it will never be the cold foil full art, like full
double-sided Marvel.
That
never
my
again.
copies will retain and gain value as time goes on. Maybe they drop a little bit. Maybe Dromai isn't played, but I don't really see that happening.
Yeah.
But this is what Wizards does, is like they release Force of Will as that really cool, like piratey looking full art, or extended art or whatever it was.
Yep.
And then you know that the next time they reprint Force of Will, it's going to be some new art that's all fancy.
Art that's even better looking, that's textured,
or it's just
ribbed
like,
for her
just
enjoyment,
good,
or some bullshit.
Exactly, and so it's like they're tanking the value across the board. It's like if you would just make the special version, and then reprint the normal copy over and over. That special version, the people who want to collect and want the value of their cards to stay high, they will have that version for their deck, and it will retain its value. And then the people who just want the card to play, they can buy their $50 Force of Will and they can be happy, or their $30.
They can buy a $30 Force of Will.
I'm fine with the 30. Like that's the thing. I like that Flesh and Blood has like main deck. Like I like that you can buy a $10 Tomotai.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's cheaper in America. I don't know.
Maybe it's $8. Who cares?
I like that you can buy that, because that does not affect my $200 Tomotai. My full art Marvel is still worth, like, I'm going more by Canadian prices. I don't know. They might be cheaper American, but
it's sub 200, I think. But still,
even like 180. But like, think about that. That's still like an $8 to $10 card versus, 150 even, let's say.
Yeah.
Like, my copy is still valuable, and even if Tomotai even if they literally reprint it in the next set after Dynasty, and then the next set, and it's a 2-cent card, that Marvel will still hold value because it is still super rare, and they're never going to make it again.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where Magic goes wrong. I think that they try to, because they're focused on the immediate now, and so every set has to have all these new flashy cards in order to keep selling more and more. The only problem problem is that it devalues absolutely everything across the board. And so they're playing the short game right now. They're playing the very short-sighted. We just need to double and triple our profits and make, what is it? I think in the next 3 years they want to increase another 50%.
50%, exactly.
And it's just like, and I made my video, Magic is dead, play Flesh and Blood, right? Where my whole thing is, I'm like, this is what Magic is doing. Here's every way that the game is going downhill, and here's every way that Flesh and Blood is that specific. In those specific issues, Flesh and Blood is doing the opposite. So it's like, if you care about if you don't like the way Magic's going because of these specific reasons,
buy a starter deck.
Flesh and Blood.
And I have to address that misnomer or the public misperception that Flesh and Blood, oh, it's too expensive of a game. You basically have crafted like a whole series of episodes on budget decks, budget viable decks, sub $20 decks, sub $8 decks, I think you have, or $10, $12 decks, something like that.
I have for the Dromai and Phi, I had like $10 upgrades where it's like you buy the Blitz deck and you spend another $10 and you can upgrade it, and it's like, and then it was all commons and rares, so like dirt cheap. Actually, I think there was a Majestic. It was the unfortunately banned now, but it was the Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Okay. Because I wanted cheap, good options. But that's the thing about Flesh and Blood. Like rares and commons are still good. You don't have that Majestic, it doesn't matter. Your deck is still a Phi deck. Whereas in Magic, like, oh, you want to play a Yawgmoth deck? Like let's say in Modern, if you don't have Yawgmoth, you're not playing a Yawgmoth deck.
And that's like what, a $30 card or something
Phi
like
without
that?
Art of War is it's not as good of a Phi deck, but it's still a Phi deck. You still can do Phi things. You still can win.
Repeatedly beating people over the face with your
sure. If you don't have the legendaries, it doesn't mean your deck's not going to function. It just means it's not as good as it is. And I know a lot of people complain about the legendaries, but I've said it in videos before. You take the whole price of a Flesh and Blood deck versus the whole price of a Magic like Modern deck.
It's not even comparable.
Which is the closest to Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood, there were a couple decks for a short period of time that were like up to $1,000, right? Because they were the most popular, and it was like a lot of them were when we had like Chain, Briar, and Viscerai, and they were all like doing well in Classic Constructed, and I think like Viscerai was ruining Blitz. Grasp the Arctics was like $200 Canadian or something, like, and it's because there's multiple heroes using the same legendary, so it's high in demand. But at the same time, it's like you could also just play Ninja, and it's cheap. Yeah. You could play Lexi. You could
have played Brute for under $50 easily, right?
People are like, oh, where are the budget decks? It's like, it's the heroes that aren't doing well. It's just like there's some people, they want the best deck and all the best cards, and they want it for dirt cheap.
They want it for free. You can't have it both ways.
Those same people though will complain when they try to sell their cards and they're worth nothing, and they will be upset because they can't get money back out of it. They want to buy. It's like, when I buy sealed product, I want to get something of value out of it. Like, I don't need to pull my exact value, but I don't want to pull, like in Magic, I don't want to buy a $200 box, is basically Canadian now, and pull $30 worth of cards, because that happens so often in Magic now. Where it's like, you don't even get close. Whereas in Flesh and Blood, it's like, sometimes you have a stinker box. Most of the time, especially since Uprising, since they've increased the pull rates of legendaries and that, like rainbow foils, you can get marvels, you can get legendaries, you can get
$80
a $40,
box.
$50
You're getting like $40 to $60 of value at a minimum, and at a maximum you can get $200 to up to $400 if you pull really strong. But it happens very rarely.
Yes, and because it's the marvels and the legendaries that command most of the price, with a few staple Majestics that are generic, and they're like, Erase Base is still like a $15 card or so. It's not as good as everybody thought it was going to be.
8 or 10.
Okay, it's gone down. But it was at the time of release, it was like $40. It was expensive because everybody's like, oh, here's the new generic. So if you're a store especially, like, it's more important that stores can make a profit off of opening boxes, because they need to be able to sell singles and do that. Because if I've said it before, if nobody's opening up boxes to sell singles, you're gonna have to buy a whole box just to try and pull the cards you need. That kills the game. You need to be able to buy singles for your decks, because nobody wants to buy like 6 cases just to build one deck. Like, it's not worth it. But the thing is too, like, because the legendaries command most of the price, it means that all the value of a box allocates to those select few cards. And then the rest of the cards are actually incredibly cheap. Like, most Majestics are like
playable.
$5.
You could build non-legendary decks that are still viable. I mean, they might not be optimal, but you can still play and win a game or two spending under $50.
Yep.
Maybe not 20, but I think even 20, some decks in the past have surfaced for under $20 that can win.
Dude, especially if you go into a local game store, I would be surprised if you were to say, hey, I need like a bunch of these commons, right? I would actually be surprised if a store either charged you or like tried to charge you for what its value on TCG Player is, because like when you're giving away bulk commons, like for most stores I've been to are just like, just take them unless it's like a staple like Sink Below or whatever.
Yeah.
If it's like, if you just need like random blues and reds, like if you're building a 5 deck and you need like Ronin Renegades, they're just gonna hand them to you.
I'd say so.
You know,
Yeah,
or they're going to say,
cents.
even if you needed all the cards for the deck and they're all commons and rares and they're not worth much, they'll probably be like, give me $10 for all this. I'm not going to price all these
Yeah,
commons.
buy
and rares
buy a soda and a bag of chips or something like that. You
Exactly.
can get as many commons
Right
as you
now,
want.
I mean, some stores might be different. Maybe you need to find a better one. But like, you know, you're probably not going to have to, and especially as the game grows, you're probably not going to have to go to TCG Player for all your commons and rares. So you can probably build decent enough decks for relatively cheap and just buy the Majestics.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're one of the people at my local game stores, I open a bunch of boxes, so I brought in a bunch of my bulk and everybody just goes through it for free. I literally told the store owner, I was like, I just set these out. Somebody needs cards, just go through them, give them to them. Like I don't need it. It's all the extra bulk. I've got enough still at home. I don't want it. Clears out space for me. And you know, I can't stand the argument that Flesh++Blood is too expensive.
Yeah,
and the other
exactly.
thing too, you buy your legendaries, okay? Because here's the thing: there are some people that want to build every deck that's out there, and it's like, okay, well then you're gonna have to do what I do. I've built a bunch of different decks. Only a few of them have I ever bought all the legendaries for. I had to pick the classes that were my favorite, which is Illusionist and Warrior, and I guess Runeblade, because Runeblade's so like. There's so much that they can do with the class, and
Yeah.
I'm trying Viscerai, so well I'm here, so I just bought Grasps and Spellbound Creepers.
really?
But
Okay.
like those are the only 3 classes I now have the legendaries for. I'm not gonna buy legendaries for Brute or for Guardian, even if I want to try those decks, because I know they're not going to be ones that I play enough. And so it's like I'm buying the legendaries for the classes that I know when a new Dory or new Warrior comes out, for instance. I already have the Brave Forge Bracers, the Valiant Dynamo, the I guess the
It's all
Courage of
generic
Blade
warrior. It's
I
not
have-
specific to Dorinthia. It's
now
any
that I've
warrior
already
can
spent
play
it,
Yeah.
anytime they release a new one, I already have the legendary. So now it's like, oh, this $500 deck now actually only costs me like $100 because I already have the expensive cards. I've already bought them, like a Tunic. People like complaining about the price of Tunic. It's like, I have used Tunic in like 15 different decks at this point.
I've used Tunic in almost 80% of my
that
games
card was
ever
like,
played.
That card was literally like $15, $20 a deck. That was it. So it's like when you really think about it that way. Now, if you're somebody who is only ever going to play casually, you're not looking to be as into the game as like we are, like, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the price legendaries might be a little expensive. However, if you're like just going to the armory and you're just looking to have fun, you're not really looking to get super into the game,
Use
you
a
don't need
Blossom
to buy
of
them.
Spring or something like
or
that.
be a really nice person and be a really open and good, like work on your social skills if maybe you're not good with that, because you'll like, at least in my LGS, and I've heard from other people, like you will have people literally just put a legendary on your playmat. When you meet a new person and they're very friendly and they're not like seedy or sketchy or anything, because there are some sketchy people. I've met some guys and they put their deck out and I'm looking at them and I've literally just been like, well, the Krunic that you sent me, I bring that to the LGS and I put it on someone else's playmat. I've given them the Arknight Skullcap when I'm using my Crown of Providence. You're playing, I'm not playing Dory, you're playing Warrior, here's the Brave Forge Bracers, you know, and the Courage of Bladehold.
So you
they
just
can use
lend
it
it
for
to
the
them,
night.
and yeah.
You can use it for the night, make sure you get it back to me, and people are good with it. Now, again, you gotta if you're not good at reading people, don't give out your legendaries because you don't want to give it to the wrong person.
Of
But
course. They might run away with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're pretty good at reading people and you don't have a sketchy LGS, like I know Fluke had said the one store that he goes to, they have like a box and they're all in red sleeves, and that's the loaner legendary. So if you're new, they will loan you the legendaries for the night to use at the events. And it's like that. It's so easy to lend out equipment that it's like you're gonna occasionally get lent them.
That's
You know,
how
just be a decent person
MTG used to be in the 90s. I remember lending out my power cards or my dual lands, and can I borrow this? And we're playing at the school library, and it's like, okay, it's not that valuable. I know I'll get it back, and you're credible. We all either go to school together or we all play at the LGS on the weekends. And I mean, even I remember in the 2017 to 2019 era, going to the LGS, it's like, I need a Notion Rain, or I need this card that's in print. It's like, that's 5 cents. You're gonna have to trade me a quarter card so I get my value back. And I'm like, whoa, that whole attitude of community has shifted in Magic the Gathering for sure.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, like you said, you open boxes, you give away your bulk.
I gave away Majestics.
I not only gave away my bulk, I spent a good 20 hours organizing my card.
I saw that video.
You saw that video.
You give your time.
And then I gave my time, and I organized everything so everything's nice and pretty. And then I sent it out, and the cost was on me for shipping worldwide. There are people from Mexico, there are people from Europe, there are people from Asia that wanted those cards and couldn't have access. In this case, it was Crucible Unlimited. And I was like, that's fine. And Fab is in about 40 countries right now. I would say there's still 100 plus countries in the world where they don't have Flesh and Blood. But I welcome the viewers out there, I welcome the potential players out there to open up and say, hey, look, I want to start a community. I want to encourage my LGS. I want to push my LGS to carry Flesh and Blood, just like they did in Brazil, just like they did in Vietnam, just like they're doing in Japan right now. And that's what I can contribute, just to push them. And oh, you need 100,000 cards? Well, guess what? I'm the right guy.
Yeah.
I'll pay for shipping for 100,000 cards, airdrop it into your country so that you don't have to play crappy games made by a crappy publisher that doesn't care about you, that is basically taxing your wallet, taxing the value of your collection whenever you show any loyalty and hold any of their product, which is what Hasbro, WotC, and Magic the Gathering are doing right now.
Yeah. I'm not as well off as you. I'm not as established.
Hey, that's not what I'm saying
even
at all.
myself, like I opened up, I went ham on Uprising. For me, I've never opened. When I played Magic, the most I ever bought for boxes was a Mystery Booster because that set was just so good for Commander, and I was a Commander player.
Yep.
And I bought 5 boxes. I opened up 15 of Uprising. Like I went balls to the wall, and I also have another 4 that are in my closet. Like I have four loose boxes in my closet. Yeah.
Oh,
unfortunately, my LGS owner, I don't know why, but he actually like split the seal on it and then folded it back. Well, I'm not that upset because honestly, it's Uprising. Chances are that's one that I wouldn't even keep sealed anyways in the future. I'm probably going to want to go back and open up another box in a few years.
I would encourage you to keep a sealed case.
I'm going to try to get another one, yeah. But and that's the thing, Uprising was so good. It's like I want multiples of it anyway, so I'm going to try to get another case sometime soon. But it's when I had so many of them, like I pulled multiples of most of the Majestics and like more than I needed. I had 3 of everything, and then I didn't trade the rest of them away. I put them in a trade binder, but every time someone who was new was building a deck,
you just gave.
I literally went in and maybe I didn't give them all of them. I would give them, like if I had like 6 different ones for 5, I'd give them 3 of them. Like here, add these to your deck. I'd literally just give them to him. Like,
a little something, and then next time if he's still behind by 1 or 2 cards, why not? Right?
There's a gentleman. Shout out to Brandon. I don't know if you'll ever watch this, but he has a son, Ikaila, who he looks maybe about like 13, 14 maybe. A really good kid, really nice kid, very polite. And I was like, especially like I went more like above and beyond. I literally bought him sleeves for his deck. I bought him Dragon Shield sleeves because I walked over and because I was just like, I love seeing younger people get into this game because I personally, like, I really want this game to appeal. Like I want it to appeal to everybody, but I really would love to see, especially young men, like teenagers and young adult men who are lost in life, because that's where I was growing up as a teenager and as a young adult. I was very lost. I didn't have any good role models. Like my role models were like people like the professor on YouTube. Like quite frankly, it was watching people online because I didn't have really any in my real life. And I think Flesh and Blood can be a game where you go to your LGS and there's actually like good, decent people. You know, and it's like that's what I want to be. That's why I try to dress well. I try to present myself well. I try to be as generous as I can be, and I mindfully do it. Like it's like a purpose that drives me now. It's like I want to be the role model for young people that I needed when I was that age. And
you want to lead by example.
Exactly,
and be a better version of yourself.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's like when you are generous to somebody like that. The hope too is that in 10 years, when they're when he's the same age that I am now, and he's more established in life, and maybe he's still playing these games, and he gets something really good. My hope is that he passes that on to the next generation.
Of course, because you're paying it forward. You did it for him. They do the same.
Hope to set that path well, and it just. I'm gonna be honest with you. It like another thing too is like if you're gonna, I've won probably about half the armories at my LGS that we've held, which is like for one person to win half of them is a very big amount.
That just means you're pretty good.
I keep. Well, it's also because most of the people are very new to the game. So, but I would consider myself a slightly above average player. Like I don't get in the reps. I could probably be a very good player if I really spent the time to play. I naturally take to card games. I naturally take to strategy games. But one thing that I do is whenever I keep the one promo that I want for the army, I keep that one promo for myself, and any more that I win for that month, I will find somebody who's like when last month when it was Uprising, I found who was playing a Dromai deck. Here is the Storm of Sandakai. Right? Here's that cold foil. It's like you didn't win, you came in like 5th place or whatever. You're playing a Dromai deck, I want you to have this.
Here's your Dromai card to remember.
I know you could keep that promo and you could sell it for $30 on the Discord. Nothing will ever match the smile and just like the look. Because when I gave it, there was a guy at my LGS, Dan. I handed it to him, and just the way his face lit up, like it feels so damn good to be generous like that. Like maybe it's a selfish part of me, but like I felt on top of the world for that. And it was just such a small, like to me, it was just like, I already have it. I don't need to for my draw my deck. Here you go. You know, but he took it. He was so happy about that. So
I totally get it. I get the same feedback. I think I mentioned in an episode, I went to Lille, and there were literally half a dozen or more people that came up to me and said, Saint, I'm so happy to have met you. Thank you for what you do for Flesh and Blood. I wouldn't have gotten into this game if you did not send out your welcome decks or your intro decks. And I'm like, whoa, I sent out thousands, but even the fact that 6 or 7 or 8 people are coming to me saying it encouraged them to get into this game. I've helped them open up their horizons, and I've helped introduce new people into this game, into this community, because like you said, right now in this time in 2022, I think grown up men and adolescent men, boys that are trying to become men, they need leadership. They need other strong men in their lives more than ever. Like right now, more than ever, where there's, forget about politics, just media and the environment and the world are telling them to become feminine.
There's a lack of good, strong masculinity. Not the kind of angry dude bros punching walls, but like strong,
not Arnold or Stallone.
Like somebody like James White. He's not a jack. He is skinny as a beanpole, but that man has ambition and he's intelligent. He is a genius. He's
got drive.
Yes,
he's got confidence.
That is a man's man, and that is a modern man. That is absolutely a role model. That's my role model. Now, we should let our poor cameraman rest his arms. This has been a long episode. To end this off, I just want to say one last thing. Magic the Gathering is complete ass now. Play Flesh and Blood.
Play Flesh and Blood.
In the serve?
Nice. Baby spice.
In the serve.